Hey, 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 welcome back. Good to see you, Tim. How have you been?
Likewise, yes, thank you, David. I've just recovered from a very brief trip over to New York, so jet lag's all gone, and looking forward to a long weekend. And I hear you've got a long weekend in the States as well.
Yes, that's right. I forgot. I felt embarrassed. I was chatting with someone earlier in the week. I'm like, oh, I'm free. It's really weird. My calendar is completely free on Monday. And he just kind of looked at me and I said, right, okay. What does Tuesday look like for you? It's been one of those weeks.
Yeah.
A couple quick announcements before we get into the reason for your trip, the big news. At InfoComm, I'm going to be presenting a session, live streaming in action. I've been for a couple years now leading the webinar track, moderating and hosting the webinars for VIXA for live streaming, and not to too much, but it's been a very successful track. Good attendance, okay, great attendance, and comments and whatever, and this is my thing. This is where I show off my tricks. This is where I show off all my goofy stuff and try to make a case for why we should be using this more in business video, and they're giving me time to just say whatever I want. I'm gonna try to have a lot of fun with this. It's gonna be a PowerPoint presentation, but there'll be a lot of videos in the PowerPoints. And the time is there. It's Wednesday, 10 a.m. And also, I'll be moderating a session on accessibility. This one I'm very interested in. I have friends in the deaf community. I recently produced a live stream for a friend of mine who created a play, Not Another Deaf Story. And everyone in the play, all the actors are deaf. So I learned a lot. I learned by the way, quick tip, if you're producing for deaf and you have interpreters on screen, before you go live, ask them to give you the sign for heaven and baby. Because heaven is the lowest sign in sign language. I mean, baby is the lowest, and heaven, I'm not doing them correctly. In heaven, oh, look, there's an extra me behind me. That's weird. We'll figure that out later. So if you capture that on screen, you capture that on screen. But it's a lot more complicated on that. Getting the captioning is not just there. It's just there in YouTube on replays, but it's not just there everywhere. So there's going to be a great panel, and I'm really looking forward to it. So
Sounds great.
thanks. Adam, are you going to be at InfoComm?
I'm looking at my diary. Maybe, maybe not.
It's a big trip, and you just made a big trip.
Yeah, we'll see. It seems like one that I shouldn't miss. It's becoming so important to be there.
Yeah, well, hopefully, for my selfish sake, 'cause I like to hang out with you, hopefully you'll be there.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
So Zoom perspectives. Let's get into it. It seemed like it was a big picture messaging thing this year. Not a lot of details on products, but more about big strategy and success.
Yeah, I feel like Perspectives was, and this is the event obviously before Zoomtopia. So lots of analysts there. Zoom looked after us. They were doing a little bit of message testing. And I think what they were trying to do is to try and work out what resonates with analysts and therefore what will resonate with customers, I hope. And it's really about Zoom's vision and their strategy and their vision on how to transform how people communicate and collaborate within its single platform built from the ground up with AI and innovation. And I think they were testing some messaging around how their roadmap and offerings and their products and features aim to amplify, simplify, and delegate work for its users. And they went into their extensive portfolio around Zoom Docs and Zoom AI Companion and Zoom Workplace and Zoom Revenue Accelerator and Workvivo. I think what they're trying to do is to get a sense of what this platform's for, having carved out a niche for themselves, particularly over COVID, on meetings. And that's where, of course, meetings was sort of where meetings came to the fore during the pandemic, and the freemium model sort of established Zoom as a meetings provider, and almost like a verb, meet me on Zoom. So I think what they're trying to do there is sort of realize or get the market to realize they're more than that. So I think that's really where they're trying to focus. AI at no extra charge, taking obviously a bit of a swipe at Microsoft that is charging $30 per user per month. But really sort of looking at the whole platform approach, the multicast, the unified communications and contact center as a service together.
Yeah, I think not only does it make sense, I think it's the only move for them. It really is. I did a video recently. It's up there somewhere on Zoom Workplace, on the platform, and it's doing. I'm becoming addicted to YouTube's analytics page. Those numbers, I just watch them tick and go up in every single view. I'm like, thank you, viewer. And this one is a performer. It's just getting continuous views. So people are interested in it. It is, it is trending. But in that video, I explained that even if you're the biggest Zoom fanboy in the world, and you still think, I still think Zoom meetings are the best. They're so much better than, so much better than Teams, so much better than WebEx, everything else. The others aren't bad anymore. You just can't say that. You can't say that. People used to be relieved to get a Zoom invite because the others are so bad, and now they've more than caught up. They're good. Sorry, Zoom. I hate to say it. The competition in meetings is good, so they need to do more. And what is more? It's focusing on who are the Zoom users, desktop workers. Give them a platform, and obviously AI is the way to tie it together. I would have loved to hear more about Ask AI Companion, because I think that's the differentiator between AI Companion and Copilot. Ask AI Companion, if I'm understanding it right, I think that's a magic bullet. But
I think so. And this is where I think Zoom has to sort of rely a lot heavily on them, get their marketing message out and think about different personas as well. So for example, and I flew out on an airline, and you park up the car and you go in the long-term car park, you jump on a coach and they deliver you to the airport alongside cabin crew and everyone else. Now, while I was in the coach, there were some Virgin Atlantic cabin crew there, and they were using their mobile phones. And I was very nosy, and I shouldn't have been really, but I noticed that this was the Workvivo app that was deployed to the Virgin group. So I said, I'm ever so sorry to interrupt you, but I noticed that you're using Workvivo. How are you finding it? And they said it's fantastic. It really helps them. As cabin crew, they don't have access to their desktops. When they're flying about, they need to keep in contact. And this is a great way for them to get messaging, go onto spaces, check any changes to schedules, anything like that. Now, I feel that Zoom is really missing out on this frontline worker segment, and maybe they ought to turn up the amplification. They should amplify the messaging on Workvivo and what they can do for mobile and hybrid workers, because at the moment, most people live and die in, say, for example, Microsoft Teams. Perhaps their unified communications client is the thing that they actually live in, the first thing they log on to when they open up their desktop. I'm not sure that many people grab their mobile phones and think, I must check Teams in the morning. It's usually email. And I think that with Workvivo being an alternative to the corporate intranet and to email, and to allow you to get these critical communications, this is a great platform for both the hybrid worker and the frontline worker. And I have a feeling that Zoom should really start messaging more on that, bearing in mind that most people are hybrid workers.
It's funny that I always thought the secret to Zoom's success has been that they went for the grassroots. Like you're saying, they went for the workers, get the workers to love them and say, boss, you gotta let us use this. We love this. But with Workvivo, which is a grassroots kind of thing, it seems like they're taking the opposite approach. But to be fair, it's working for them, because I don't remember which slides were NDA, so I'm not going to say, I was almost saying I'm not going to say nothing. My New Jersey roots are coming out. I'm not going to say anything, but they scored some big accounts with the top-down, traditional big business sales approach, and then it goes out to the workers, and the workers love it. So it's working for them, but it does seem like, but the big news is they beat Facebook. They beat Facebook bad. Not only did Facebook lose, Facebook is like, we're gonna, right? Facebook's using them now. Facebook turned off its own thing, and it's all Zoom now.
Yeah. So Workplace by Meta, that's now end of life. So Zoom has been nominated, or Zoom Workvivo in particular, specifically, they've been nominated as their chosen migration partner. And Workvivo have got migration tools and services in place to migrate people over onto that platform. So that's a significant, that's in the millions of users. That's a significant win for Workvivo. And I mean, it's a very extensive platform. So Workvivo really allows you to customize and brand your own pages. So in that Virgin example, it's all in Virgin Red. It's all branded, so it looks like their application, but it's Workvivo that's running in the back end. You never manage to get that with Workplace by Meta. And some of the extensive capabilities that they've got there, and the ability, of course, to leverage AI across the whole of the Zoom platform is extensive. So if they get their AI companion right, that can act as a broker across all of the different workloads that Zoom has on its platform. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to surface things like, tell me what's the next thing I need to do? What's the next best action I need to do? Do I need to respond to this email? Do I need to respond to David's chat? Can I, what tasks are up and coming? When's my next meeting? All of these things can be leveraged by AI and pushed to the front, rather than you going into, say, Outlook and then seeing, what was the last message I received? It doesn't give you any context. So I have a feeling they've got an awful lot to gain from leveraging AI across the platform. Is trying to figure out the strategy, how they position it differently. And for me, that's going to be their key sort of, that needs to be their key sort of area to focus on, their messaging, how they market this, because it's a huge portfolio. People need to know why it's different from Microsoft and Cisco and Ring and 8x8 and everyone else. And they need to know, how it appeals to different worker segments and personas, and clearly what advantages it offers.
That gets into the Ask AI Companion being different from just AI Companion. But the reason I was laughing as you were talking about Workvivo, I love bringing up Workvivo around you, because when it came out among the entire analyst community, you were the biggest skeptic. And then when you saw it and you were open-minded, of course, you were convinced, and now you are the biggest. But you explain, sorry, Zoom, but you explained it better than the Zoomies do. You just gave such a great pitch for Workvivo. But well, it's true. You know what it really is. Yeah, everything you said is right.
Well, what it is that we've been in the enterprise social network business before. So we had Jive Software, we had Cisco WebEx Social or WebEx Quads, as it was previously known.
So many failures.
You had so many different, you had Workplace by Meta or Facebook for Work. You've got Yammer, of course, which is now Viva Engage, which feels like one of the most unloved products in Microsoft because everything seems to be dominated by Teams now. I have a feeling they've just capitulated and said, look, Teams is going to win. That's the first place that everyone goes to. So Yammer's just, Yammer's just another tab within Teams. Maybe not the best user experience, having everything as tabs or on rails or buttons or everything else, but that's what they've chosen to do. So I was a bit skeptical to begin with because we've been there before. And of course, one or two vendors doesn't make a market. But what Workvivo have done is position this as an enterprise experience platform, or an enterprise engagement platform rather. And I love the idea of these analytics. So if you can imagine, you send out a corporate communication and you see how many people open it, respond to it, interact with it. That's the data you want. Previously, it's like, let's have a town hall. Let's chase that up with a newsletter. Let's have an email. Let's post it on the intranet. And that scattergun approach doesn't give you any understanding as to who's read it, who's engaged with it, who's really sort of, who's read it, engaged with it, who's responded to it. But with Workvivo, if you have that analytics behind the platform, and perhaps even you could put in Zoom analytics around Teams chat, or maybe you could put in analytics around email response rates, this Workvivo engagement platform and the analytics behind it could become a real central point for corporate communications. So I'm quite excited at the prospects, and this is a new way of representing the enterprise social network market at a time where it's needed. Frontline workers, hybrid workers that are going into the office or traveling overseas as cabin crew, or working in Walmart, they need access to this information, because previously it used to be emails trying to get on a town hall or physical pieces of paper on a notice board in Walmart. I mean, this is the way in which frontline workers communicate. So I'm very encouraged by the prospect of Zoom sort of Workvivo and what it can potentially offer.
Yeah, we've been trying to get a Workvivo set up for our little group of analyst friends, but it's not really designed for that. But we just want to play with it anyway. But final thought on Workvivo, I think I think you have a point. I think it deserves the kind of grassroots sort of thing, but I kind of think they'll be okay with that at their current top-down approach, along with the massive boost that they're bound to get from what just happened with Facebook. I think Workvivo's. I don't think we got to worry about it. I think you're right that it deserves the extra marketing love, but.
And don't forget, it's going to be a beachhead segment. So you don't have to buy the whole of Zoom's portfolio. You can buy Workvivo, have it nicely integrated with Teams. You can have Workvivo on its own. So it's still going to exist as a single SKU, but the whole idea here is a land and expand strategy, I think. The other area that was interesting, but we didn't hear a lot about, was Zoom Docs. So we know that that's in beta. That I should imagine at Zoomtopia, we might hear a little bit more around that, but that is almost like a Notion-like capability that I think will garner an awful lot of interest. So yeah, the one thing I didn't hear a lot about was Zoom Events. So we didn't go into product specific detail. We didn't hear a lot about Zoom Events, but I just wondered what your thoughts were on that, David.
Well, Rupam asked a question, and I'm always feel like I'm thinking along the right lines when that's what I was going to ask, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, so I don't remember exactly how she asked it, but I wish I did, because she asked it better than I'm going to ask it. But it was okay, we get the strategy. Like I said at the beginning, I have a video up, and I understand that you can't really sell meetings against meetings anymore. You got to do the platform, and we should go into more about how the AI really does tie it together. When you're talking about Docs alone is interesting to me. Docs with Ask AI Assistant, so that when I'm in an email, it knows to tell me about something in Docs. That's what makes it all happen. But Rupam's question was along the lines of, y'all have some really cool products like Docs, like Zoom Scheduler, like Zoom Clips, like Zoom Huddle, like Zoom Whiteboard, that we're not hearing anything about. When we talk to people in the real world, they're like, Zoom has a what? Zoom does, huh? And it feels like, all of those things. Zoom Events. Zoom Events is killing me. I'm still seeing so many, I'm attending so many mediocre webinars, or seeing, webinar on a laptop at the back of the room live streams, when I should be seeing a wonderful Zoom Events. I want InfoComm and Enterprise Connect to be on Zoom Events, that kind of stuff. But, we didn't hear anything about those things. And the answer to Rupam's question was basically, it was the right answer. It was a restatement of, our focus going forward is the platform, Zoom Workplace. But the answer I wanted to hear, I don't know what Rupam wanted to hear. The answer I wanted to hear is, are we allowed to say how much cash they're sitting on, or was that NDA?
I'm not sure. I get very concerned when I start stating things like that. I'd have to go back to the Zoom quarterly earnings call, I think.
Okay, so I'm not going to say numbers, but Zoom is profitable. Zoom is profitable in a way that many companies, Zoom is profitable, and they've been smart, and they're sitting on cash. And it's a lot, to the point where they could say, you know what, let's throw $150 to marketing to have some fun with, and let's let the world know about Zoom Events and Zoom Scheduler and Zoom Docs, and see what happens. I don't know if that's good business or not, but they could literally do that, and it would be amazing.
I would love to see a day in the life of a hybrid worker, how they, Workvivo, find out what's going on. They then go into the office, they use the reservation system, they use Wayfinder to find out where their desk is.
So much amazing
all of that sort of stuff can really be done. But of course, the problem is, when you are as innovative as Zoom is, and you're releasing so many features, they spoke about 40 plus new features in Zoom Workplace. They gave examples about meeting flow, and how the meetings tab, and how workflow sort of looks at what assets do you need, how do you prepare people for the up and coming work, the multi-speaker view, the multi-share and document collaboration that's coming up in June, the workflow automation that's going to come up, and how you can have trigger moments with things like employee onboarding. They spoke about team chat tabs.
And by the way, this isn't all bloat. Everything you're saying is good stuff. No one says the product isn't good. all
No,
the
it's
products.
just trying to get your head around everything that's happening all at once. You know, team chat, shared spaces, post call summaries, voice prioritization, voicemail task extraction, team SMS thread summaries. There's just so much of it. It's very difficult to try and get your head around what's happening because the pace of innovation is so quick.
So do they just hope that the old word of mouth, what made Zoom in the first place, carries all these features? Or do they need a massive education thing? Or does it not matter? Because it's all comes with the platform. If someone gets Zoom Workplace, they're going to have Zoom clips. It's going to be there. You know, they don't need to market it. I don't know the answer.
I think a picture paints 1,000 words. So I'd love to see voice. I'd love to see some videos of this is how it changes my day. This is how it changes things. This is how AI companion will set me up for success for the day, rather than me having to go to email or, you know, some sort of UC client or going to an intranet page and trying to work out how I make sense of all of the busy stuff that's going on in my environment at work.
I agree. More content would be great. Especially because, you know, like we said, that there's a story to be told here, right? It is actually a lot of good stuff. It really is. And I wanted to take this opportunity. One of the things that we didn't hear about, you know, we didn't hear about events, we didn't hear about scheduler, we didn't hear about this and that. And I shouldn't say we didn't hear about it. It was a full day. I'm sure these things were mentioned. Zoom Huddles, I feel, has gotten lost. And it's still, this is a new article, so it's still supported, it's still a thing, and I love the concept. And last time when I was meeting with the team, I complained about the name. I think I'm not the only one, because I think it's the opposite of a huddle. Huddle is what we're doing right now. We're engaged. This is it's almost like it's almost social distancing. This is hanging out separately and not huddling. And my friends at Zoom said to me, you know, David, if you have a better name, share it with us. Melody Brew is in the chat from LinkedIn. Hey, Melody Brew is one of my favorite people. She says that we're right, Zoom Clips is great and who knows about it. Yes. Every time I mention it, people say, Zoom what? And I have to explain it to them. I'm thinking of making I'm going to make a Zoom clip and I'm just going to share it with everyone who asks me what Zoom Clips is.
You know what Zoom Clips will be? Zoom Clips will be what every other vendor will end up when everyone sends their AI to a meeting and you're just presenting on your own. It's like, well, sorry, David couldn't attend, you know, John couldn't attend, Jane couldn't attend, but they all want to send transcriptions so that they understand what the meeting's all about. It's like the meeting for one, isn't it? Zoom Clips. I think that's where we're going to end up with.
Yeah, just little pieces of content.
Yeah.
So if you ask me to come up with a better name for Zoom Huddles, I'm going to come up with a better name. And I actually came up with 12 better names. And I'm not saying that they're all market winners. I'm not saying they're all great names. I'm not saying I love them all. I'm saying they're all better than Zoom Huddles. So first one, Zoom Lounge, all the way at the top there. I love this because when I was in college, I used to do my homework in the dorm lounge, and some of my friends also did their homework in the lounge, and we would leave each other alone and sit in different corners. We all had our own corner. That's David's corner, and we'd take breaks and talk to each other. That's what this product is. It's my dorm lounge. Maybe Zoom dorm. No, not Zoom. Zoom Patio, because patio is a little bit nicer than a lounge, and patio is a great marketing word. It looks nice. It's musical. My personal favorite Zoom Lounge, I think Zoom Patio is the best. Zoom Commons, same sort of a thing. This makes me think of Boston. This might not translate across the ocean, but this one does. Zoom Piazza, right? I like that. It feels Italian. This one
There's
also
water cooler in there.
Oh, water cooler would be great. It's similar. That describes what this is better.
Well, Zoom Quads, of course, we got Cisco. We did have Cisco Quads, so maybe that's not such a.
It might
I
not
just
work
think
then.
of 4 watt.
I just have such good memories of the college quad, and that was the same sort of thing. Nest, I'm not sure if I like. The next, Hive, Hub, Circle, Nexus. I don't love any of these, but they're all more accurate descriptors than Huddles. Google had a Hangouts, but they're not using it anymore, and it really is a Hangout. I have mixed feelings about that. And Treehouse, Clubhouse, again, I don't love them. I just think they're all descriptive of what this product is. So I just thought I'd have a little fun. And I like using my buttons on my Stream Deck to make text appear. So thought I'd have some fun with that. But the point is, Zoom Huddles, that's cool. It is a good product. This isn't, why did they make this? This isn't, no one needs this. This is, oh, I wish more people were using this. And if the answer is, for now, focus on the platform, get everyone on the platform. Once they're all in, we'll figure it all out. I get that, but I agree with you that it'd be nice to see some of these. It feels like I'm trying to think of an analogy from child, like an ugly duckling thing. You know, they're not ugly ducklings; they're beautiful little ducks or gooses or whatever. That's the wrong story, but there's something there.
But if you're a company known for video, let's have some video clips of how to use these fantastic features, products, and what it does for me. Once people get their head around what it is and how it's going to make my life better, then maybe we'll start seeing a little more adoption. Otherwise, it's just going to be feature soup, and it's very difficult to get ahead as to why all of this matters as a user.
Yeah, and I do think that despite Zoom's success, and despite, you know, their profitability, and despite the fact that they're in a kind of an unfair competition sometimes against Microsoft, I still feel that their stuff is under-adopted. I don't know about meetings anymore. I think everyone who should be using meetings is using meetings, but you know, whiteboards, you know, clips, you know, we keep talking about them over and over again. I think almost all of these features, Zoom Chat. First time this live stream we've even mentioned Zoom Chat. It's one of the top chat platforms out there. It is not nearly adopted as much as I think it deserves to be.
So it's down to us to tell the story, but reinforced by some great marketing content that you know, brings all this together. I think is what we're asking for. Right on.
All right. Any final thoughts? I know it's Friday.
I don't think so. No, I think that covers a lot of ground. But yeah, it was a great event. Some really good stuff coming. And I'm excited for Zoomtopia. I think that's going to be a great event, and there'll be some interesting news there about general releases of new capabilities.
Yeah. I say the same thing every year. Of course, the most important thing about Zoomtopia is the music, and every band every year has been great. But the first year they had Weezer, and they just need to bring back Weezer every year. That might be my personal taste. All right, thanks so much, Tim. I'll see you, I think in a couple of weeks. The calendar, I might be traveling, but
sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. Couple of weeks.
Thanks everyone for watching. Take care.
Enjoy the holiday.
Yay.